Hello everyone, good evening and welcome to Cricbuzz Live. I'm Saiyami Kher. Pakistan, the finalists of the last T20 World Cup, take on the host nation, the United States of America. The American team has a whole lot of players who are actually living that American dream. And to tell us all these stories, I've got the best storyteller in the business, Mr. Joy Bhattacharya, with me in the studio. Joyda is joining us from the studio, but DK has gone to some exotic, unknown location far away. He's very close to our heart, but he's very far away from the studio. Welcome, DK.
Thanks, Amy. Thank you, Joyda. Good evening.
Good evening.
Good evening.
All I wanted to say, he told me that, I can tell you, but if I tell you, I have to kill you. So, I'm not letting you know what it is.
But DK, we are missing you a lot, but I think you're going to miss all the exotic food we've ordered. The food that we ordered at Cricbuzz is something which you won't get wherever you are. So you're going to miss out on the food.
That's very true. I actually genuinely missed the order that you are always up to. Last time you ordered the Lebanese, which is very good. But I must admit, I'm very close to a place where kebabs are very famous here. There's something called Wazwan, apparently. I need to try it.
36 courses. The proper Wazwan has 36 courses. None of them are vegetarian. So, but it's amazing. It's
Harsha
really
can't
good
come
food.
to where I am.
Yeah, but DK has a 36-course meal. I don't know if he'll make it for the mid-match and post-match. So not today, DK. Not the 36-course meal today. But coming on to what we have on course today is, of course, Pakistan taking on the host nation. One great news, Joyda, is that they are playing in Dallas. So we will hopefully see runs which we haven't seen yesterday.
Yeah, we'll see a surface at least that is more like the surface that DK likes to bat on, not the kind of surfaces that we've seen. The last surface was a bad advertisement for the game.
Yes.
And it's a scary thing because you had both a surface that wasn't great and, Rohit Sharma getting hit, all that, the way the ball was moving around, the way the ball, the bounce was bad. The outfield was also bad, which is also a scary thing. This early in a tournament, one of our top players tries a slide or a dive and goes down. And it can happen to any of the teams. It's just not good for cricket. So, yeah, Dallas, I'm far happier about everything that's happening in Dallas.
DK, of course, the game in Dallas, we saw that there were plenty of runs scored when USA took on Canada. So, hopefully, we'll see a whole lot of runs scored today as well.
True. Again, it's very good that you brought up this point only because Pakistan's bowling has been under the scanner a little bit. Against most teams, they've gone for a lot more than what the past score could have been. Let's take Ireland, for example. They scored almost 180, 170 and 195 the last time they played them. So that's not something Pakistan bowling is used to. So America will be looking to exploit that because in Dallas, if there is one thing that you get apart from seeing some cars there, I think it is the fact that definitely you can hit a long ball. Aaron Jones showed it to us last game and they'll be hoping they can get a pass score here if they bat first or if they bat second, they'll try and chase it down, I guess.
But Joyda, for Pakistan, they love coming to the T20 World Cup because they've reached 6 semi-finals out of the 8 editions. So they clearly love playing the T20 World Cup. They've won just one in 2009, but no other team's done this.
No, absolutely. And I think that's a very interesting thing because Pakistan is known to be worldwide to be a mercurial side. They're not supposed to be a very consistent side at all. You don't know which side of the bed they'll get up on, what they'll do any particular day. But this tournament, they seem to perform in. leave that 2 runners-up and 2 champions. There are 3 semi-finals as well.
Yes.
Which tells you that that record is it's probably the best. If you look at it in pure terms, it is the best record. There are nations that have won it twice, but they haven't performed consistently across like these Pakistan has. And this Pakistan side, though, is an interesting one because they reached the finals last time. Again, very strong bowling side is meant to be. That is a traditional Pakistan strength.
Yes.
But as DK says, it's not that bowling side. It's not looking in the kind of form we've known it to be in.
Yeah, it's like he said, they've been a little expensive. They've not been that. All the names on paper are lethal, but they haven't really shown that form on the field. Yeah. But DK, clearly they like coming to the big World Cup and playing the big games with India. We always speak about how they play the big games. Pakistan coming into this World Cup hasn't been in the best of form at all. We see it here with our graphics.
When you see these graphics, the one thing that all viewers must see is the number of reds there. It's not a good looking graphic for sure from a Pakistan point of view. The other two has been drawn. So just the one green, which tells you they've beaten Ireland, and that too after losing the first game.
After losing.
Ireland chased down 183. Not ominous signs, and mainly because one of their key performers is Shadab Khan. And for about a year now, he's really struggled with form. He's not got his bowling to where he would ideally like it to be. And add Shaheen Shah Afridi to that mix, who's always a good bowler. But with all the turmoil that happens thanks to the board, I think they have been very unsettled as a unit, and the results are showing.
But Joyda, we spoke about them not coming in with great form. But do you think they've got what it takes to maybe go all the way this World Cup?
Every Pakistan team always has the basic talent to do what they have to. They always have what it takes. The question is whether they can replicate it on that particular day. The question is how many of them are talking to each other. Of course, that problem is less now.
Yes.
There used to be a time when the Pakistan dressing room, Wasim once told us that he's spoken to more players in the Indian team than he has spoken to his own teammates, because sometimes it's like that. But I think this is a very interesting unit because it's just not doing well. Gary Kirsten has come in. Remember, both these teams have basically airdropped coaches at the last minute. Kirsten has come in and Kirsten started his coaching, which Pakistan has always been very upset about, as a Zoom coach, because he was sitting here with the Gujarat Titans.
Yes.
So he's just come in, he's just trying to understand the sizes, the combinations. And Kirsten is a very calm guy. He needs time. DK will tell you that he's the kind of person who needs to work. So he's not had very much time. On the other side, you've got Stuart Law, again, very experienced coach, Bangladesh. He's done fantastic things for them. He's coached all around the world. But again, he's come in April. So neither of these guys have had a great run with their team. Neither of these guys knows, perhaps neither guy knows what the best first 11 is or what the perfect first 11 is. Who are the kind of characters they need to back? And I think that's the only one thing that I'd say that perhaps planning-wise, it's a bit of an issue for both teams.
All right. Pakistan hasn't come into the World Cup in the greatest of form, but the team they're playing, the United States of America, has been in red-hot form because they've won 7 out of their 8 games in 2024. DKB also saw this in their first game against Canada. Of course, we see all green here for them in 2024, and their first game against Canada, they look like a very dominant side against Canada.
Oh, absolutely. You can just see that even though they had given 195, lost a couple of wickets early, they believed it could be done. And that came through very, very well. And Aaron Jones, that player from Barbados, was just so good to watch. The West Indian flair is something that you cannot buy anywhere in the world. There is something very beautiful about it, very attractive. And I enjoyed watching him play. He literally took the bull by its horns and played some lovely slog sweeps. I play a slog sweep and I know how tough a shot it can be if you're not in form, but you can just see Aaron Jones is oozing with form and confidence. Just the way he speaks, even after the match, it was just good to watch him go about doing that. America as a team obviously have various players from different parts of the cricketing world amalgamated and playing together. But they've got some real good results in the recent past, barring that one loss to Bangladesh after winning the series.
Yes.
They haven't lost too many, and they've played some good opponents. So it's good to see America doing what they're doing, because just like what you said, Saimi, a lot of these boys are living the American dream. They've probably not got what they wanted when they played for their home country. So they've moved to America with the hope that something like this would happen. Play against India, play against Pakistan, play in a World Cup.
Yes.
And that's just so good to see.
Well, like DK said, Aaron Jones was oozing with confidence, and for America, they've won the toss and they've decided to bowl first. This is something that Pakistan would have liked to do as well, but America will be bowling first. And Joyda, we've got an interesting question coming in from one of our fans. So let's have a look at the Ask CB question. Rahul asks us, liked what I saw of the USA team, but we know so little about these associate nations. Can the ICC make them play more with the big wigs so that not just the team, but global audience knows these players better?
So two things. I mean, and DK will have a lot more to say about this. So one thing I say is that, look, bilateral series cannot be decided by the ICC.
Yes.
That's the sad, bad fact of the matter. Every team has its own schedule, its own domestic schedule. What the ICC can do, or other countries can do, is try and work tours in such a way, and they have been trying to do that, where they get a chance to play elsewhere as well. For example, before Ireland became a test team, the idea was if India, any country goes to England, play a couple of matches against Ireland as well.
Yeah.
Beginning the tour, the end of the tour is practice, whatever. And that is what used to happen. Similarly, now I'd say that if you're going to the West Indies, play a couple of matches in the US as well, then move to the West Indies, And I think that's the way you've got to do it. You've got to do it smart. You can't. Nobody's going to go to Namibia.
Absolutely.
But they could go to South Africa and go to Namibia. And I think that's the kind of request you got to make here that, okay, you're coming here, you don't even need to play your best 11 there. You're going to say, okay, your players, just a few players if you want to, or this is the start, come on, give your guys a hit, come out here and do it. Do it smartly.
Yes.
And I think that's the way it's got to be done. You cannot tell people put a gun to their heads. Have you seen the Indian cricketing schedule?
Yes, there's no space.
I mean, this gentleman used to see his wife once a year. I mean, give them a break, yeah.
But DK, what I don't understand is that why can't they have tri-series, which as a child, I remember used to watch so many tri-series. So right now, they're either bilaterals or you're playing the big IPLs or you're playing a World Cup. So why can't we see them in tri-series?
So the absolute truth, which is probably an open secret, is the fact that because there's a world event almost every year, if you start having tri-series and quadrilateral, then the sheen and the shine that ICC World Cups have reduces a little bit. Add to that, there is a Champions Trophy. So that's why they try. I don't think they can force a board not to have a tri-nation or a quadrilateral, but they almost, in a way, prefer bilaterals to this being played. That is part one. But what is sad in world cricket is what Joyda said, a team like India doesn't have time. But if the ecosystem is healthy, which basically means there is a lot of financial help for all the boards, then South Africa and Australia and England can send their A team or B team as an experience to go and play against Netherlands, Scotland, America, all of these smaller nations. A, it's an opportunity for them to travel and play against associate teams. B, it also helps the association teams grow in stature. So when they play proper test cricket nations, they are not so far divided in terms of bridging the gap. They would do a much better that way if it can happen. That's what they should be looking to do, is my humble opinion on this.
All right. Well, they are playing a big week in Pakistan today. And of course, it is the big World Cup stage. Let's have a look at the teams. If we can start with Pakistan and see who their playing 11 is, if there are any surprises there. Joyda, the big, are you surprised not seeing Siam Ayub there? Because they've gone with Babar, Azam, Rizwan as their opening. There was a lot of discussion around whether he's going to play, not play. He's that firebrand cricketer who's aggressive, but not there in that playing 11.
Interesting. I mean, they tried Siam Ayub and it obviously is something that didn't work out. My thing is the fact that they're playing 4 pacers, and I have a feeling that they've held back Abrar Ahmed because they don't want to probably show him before the big India day. Probably just hold him back and see, because he's playing under these conditions. But this is otherwise, they've played their 4 big fast bowlers. They've played Shadab. And I think they've gone with Azam Khan. They've said that, okay, Siam Ayub is not working for them. I think they also want to see, because Azam Khan can be a dangerous player, okay? Not just at the breakfast table, he can be a dangerous player otherwise as well. And I think they want him to show it that, what he can do in this tournament early on.
But DK, you're happy with what they've gone ahead with? You've spoken about how their bowling has not lived up to the mark, but clearly with the names there, the best pace attack, you feel?
A top-class pace attack. I'm still digesting that subtle undercurrent joke that Joyda just passed. Sometimes it just goes like a bouncer. You have to be ready for it, but if you're not ready for it, it'll hit you hard. So that is one part of it. So what is Pakistan's small issue that they have? Ideally, their better spinner as we speak today is Abrar Ahmed in terms of, let's say, a variety. But the constant guy who's done well for them is the left-arm spinner batsman who is not played today because his main strength, Imad Wasim, is to bowl with the new ball. Now, when they have Naseem Shah and Shaheen Shah Afridi, they cannot give him the new ball. Then he has to bowl with the older ball. Because he relies so much on the ball that comes in, the arm ball, he is not that effective through the middle as well. Hence, they've gone for a Shadab Khan who can bowl after the power play and can bat. There are 2 things in this 11, if you notice. There is only 1 left-hander in the top 7, and there is not much who can bat after 7. So, there are gaping holes here. So they need to get their bearing right in terms of their form up front, take on the power play and be powerful through the middle so that they can apply pressure to the end.
Yeah.
Otherwise, if they lose a few wickets, then you can see they'll be getting scores which are much lesser under par. So this is the challenge that Pakistan has. The construct of the 11 is going to be hard, especially in America. Maybe when they get to Caribbean, by then it'll be okay. But for now, the construct of the 11 is a challenge for them.
I think also Imad Wasim has a bit of a side strain
he's
as
got a
well.
side strain.
So I think that's a combination of that and this together means that he's out. And you're right, Imad Wasim is a huge loss to them
Yes.
because Harris Trough batting, as he said, at 8 is way too high. You know, Harris Trough is batting way too high. So that's why Imad and Shadab, they need both because they are the two all-rounders. They are there, Ravindra Jadejas and Hardik Pandyas to give them that balance. And I think that's the problem that they have because none of their batters in the top order bowl. I mean, Ifti will give you what they're not there. So I think if you look at this side, that's what it is. Batters have to do their job, bowlers have to do their job. It's that kind of a side. And that might work against Ireland, but it's not something which is ideal, especially with India in a couple of days.
Well, there was another thing I want to talk about in that 11, but we'll get to that. I want to quickly have a look at America's playing 11 and see if they've gone with the same team that they played against Canada. This is their playing 11. Joyda, pretty much similar.
The same.
Yes.
Goose, Jones, I mean, Shaldwick is not there, which is a bit of a surprise to me, but Goose has played very well for them. Aaron Jones as well. And Stephen Taylor up front, he is really, really, in my opinion, their best bat. There's Harmeet Singh, the left-arm spinner, who's played under-19 cricket for India as well. Ali Khan. So, yeah, the only surprise I'd say is Jasdeep Singh. Otherwise, this is pretty much the lineup that we'd expect. Jasdeep for Shaldwick is perhaps the one change I would be interested in seeing. Wonder why they did it, though.
DK, the name there, Cory Anderson, 12 years ago was playing for New Zealand. Who would have imagined 12 years later he'll be playing for America?
You played IPL against him, right?
Yes, very much so. More than the IPL, when I went in the 2008 tour of New Zealand, that's where two all-rounders from New Zealand were born. Jimmy Neesham, Cory Anderson. That's where they started their journey. Jimmy Neesham has had a lot more successful time for New Zealand. Cory Anderson started with a bang, got the fastest 100. That's where he shot to fame, went to Mumbai Indians and played a bit as well. But his career dipped in a way post that. I don't think international cricket treated him as well probably as he would have liked, and he didn't get his opportunities, and he was one of the earliest entrants into a United States of America, and one that really surprised and shocked me because he went at a very young age. He didn't go at an old age like a lot of other players. He went very young and he was very sure this is what he wanted to do. And even when he got the opportunity to play CPL, he didn't take it up. He was so keen on playing minor league cricket there. He was leading the team. He did play there and did well for them, and now he's part of the American team. But he's a very, very good hitter, though I must admit he is not what he used to be, say, a decade ago. I mean, that's the case with most people, but more so with Cory Anderson. His bowling is taking
like that when we saw you this
well.
IPL, DK, though. It's you're saying that humbly. It didn't feel like that when we saw you.
He's the only one who turns back.
Yes.
Father time comes, looks at the door, is okay. DK's in there. I'm going back. He's still too fit.
But Joyda, I think he's only the 5th player in the world who's played for 2 nations. Am I correct?
World Cup. T20 World Cup for 2 nations. Otherwise, you have a lot of other players who played. I mean, Hayden Walsh has done the reverse journey also. He's played first for the US and then played for the West Indies. But I think, see, if you look at the US, you look at 2-3 types of players. And that's a very interesting lift. Dermurray, who's, whenever they see the name South Africa again, has a heart attack. Dirk Nannes, who's a very amazing personality, played the IPL. He's also runs a ski resort in Japan.
Oh.
Mark Chapman, David Beasley, of course, Namibian, he's a rock star, and of course, Cory Anderson. But I'll tell you one thing. If you look at the United States of America's teams, that's what you're going to get a lot of. You're not going to, what he said is interesting is because most guys don't give up on their dream when they're 23, 24 years old.
True.
They say they're 30 and all, and they say, okay, I'm not going to make it now, then I move on. Or I've got dropped too early. Cory Anderson made that shift pretty early on, and I think that's what he's commenting on. But that's the US side. Some couple of homegrown talents, you do have, some homegrown talent. Yeah. But even that homegrown talent, like a Stephen Taylor, he's a Florida-born kid, but he's Jamaican, basically Jamaican, and he tried to go and play back for Jamaica again. So all these guys have a story. And the other interesting thing is, of these 15, the 15 in their squad, 8 of them have qualified to play for the US this year.
Yes.
So what does that tell you? That actually tells you is good planning. That means because the US immigration is not an easy thing to do even for cricket. Like in India, if you do cricket, you can get anything done. But in the US, cricket is not their top priority.
Yes.
So, but they planned it well that all these guys will be eligible now because we need them for the World Cup. And I think that's what they've done well.
But DK, how important do you think it is? Like Cory Anderson is a name that, I mean, most cricket lovers knew because of what he did in New Zealand. Now he comes and plays for America. How important is it to get players like this to kind of just promote the game in America?
Extremely important. At the end of the day, when a Cory Anderson does it, another name, a big name who did it is soon after the 2019 World Cup, Liam Plunkett moved on to play in America. So when you get big names like this, that's when you get the Harmeet Singhs, the Milind Kumars, and many others from different countries, the courage to say, you know what, it's not working out where I am, which is my home country. I tried for a few years. Maybe I'm not good enough. Maybe the system didn't treat me well, whatever the reason could be. And then you go to America and you again relive the dream of playing international cricket. And there is a decent amount of money to be made as well. So they make a living out of it. And in certain parts of America, you can literally play cricket throughout the year, which is a big plus, unlike other countries. So that's why they choose to go to America. And then just as you said, Saimi, live the American dream. That's good to see.
Also, very interestingly, Cory Anderson played for the San Francisco Unicorns. Okay, who are the two teammates he had? Two interesting teammates, Haris Rauf and Shadab Khan. So they know each other very well. They know the game. And that's also the thing that these three, Imad Wasim, Haris Rauf and Shadab Khan, are the three Pakistanis who played regularly in the MLC. And as a result of that, what they have is they have a certain amount of experience. So in fact, even Babar Azam said that I need them to show us around as to what needs to be done, what doesn't need to be done, how to adapt to these conditions. So there's a lot happening out here. And I think what's the whole idea? US cricket is trying to move. They've got the Olympics happening.
Yes.
They've got this happening. Major League Cricket next year is expanding their teams again. They're playing 34 games next season. So what you're trying to say is all these rich guys who've gone, the Satya Nadellas of the world, Sundar Pichais of the world, they made their money.
Yes.
Now they want to see their favorite game in their country. They can't take that flight anymore.
It's too long.
It's too long. So let's bring cricket to America. And they have the money, they have the ability. So it's a very important thing for them, and it's important for the ICC as well.
Yes.
Because this is the last frontier for the ICC. The biggest sports market in the world is America. Even if you get 2% of that sports market, it's a huge market.
But Joyda, you brought that name up, Shadab Khan. You said he's played in the MLC, and that's what I was wanting to get to when I was looking at the Pakistan 11. DK, he's been so prolific for Pakistan. I love asking my geeky technical things to you. What do you think has gone wrong with him? Because he's there was a video I was watching where he's kind of bowling too short, dragging his hand down too quickly is what people are saying. So is that what it is?
If you do remember, Saimi, we touched upon it a little during the 2023 ODI World Cup as well. It is a technical error for him, and I'm surprised that it is not something anybody has brought to his notice. His front arm and his run-up angle, a couple of things, and hence the difference as well. His jump that used to be very different. So he's changed a few things to what it was before, with the hope that the previous areas that he was vulnerable in, he'll get better at. But actually, in a way, probably he's gotten better at that, but he's kind of lost a little bit of his core strength. And this always happens to professional cricketers. You're always trying to get better at your weaknesses, but the trick is to make sure your strength always remains a strength. Then it makes sense to make sure your weaknesses reduce. Otherwise, you're letting go of your strength a little bit, and that barter could actually prove costly. And in Shadab Khan's case, that I am pretty sure is the reason why he isn't what he was a few years ago.
So wonderful. So every time DK comes, last time also he gave us this master class about where West Indies, that, pitch is important, but wind is a huge factor in the West Indies, which is something that we never would, only he can give us that result. Even this, and I was just thinking about the comparison. What is the most famous story of this? Another Pakistani great spinner, Saqlain Mushtaq. And Saqlain Mushtaq bowling his dusra lost his normal off spin. He couldn't bring it back anymore. So he got 95 wickets in a year, for ODI wickets in a year, which is amazing. But the point of it is he suddenly lost the ability, and once you lose the ability to bring the ball back, then your dusra is also not that effective,
And that's what also with Shadab, I was kind of seeing a few videos where he was bowling the wrong one too often, and then to compensate that, he kind of started bowling shorter. And I think then he's just not found his rhythm back again.
Yeah,
And also, Sammy, I know you're a technical geek. And also the front on, if you see side on, it's about at the point of landing where your hand is. If your hand is in front of your head, then the ball goes differently. If it is beside your head, it goes differently. If it is away, then you're very open chested. So small things like this at jump. So you're basically running in at an angle, and at jump, you need to get the front on in the right place so that you can land the ball well. And that is not something that is easy to practice. So these are the challenges a professional cricketer faces. And as I said, what surprised me is they've still not identified the root cause for why things have not gone wrong. You always lose form. That could be due to various reasons. But when something persists, then you need to know what the root cause is to eradicate it.
Well, after listening to all that DK said, I'm sure everyone watches Cricbuzz Live. This is going to be watched by Gary Kirsten as well, and they're going to look into what's been going wrong. But just an update again, America have won the toss. They're going to be bowling first, which means we are going to be seeing the experienced two open for Pakistan. Like I said, there's no Ayub, so we will be seeing Rizwan and Babar open. Is this a good call, Joyda?
I think it's a good call. Again, and see, here's my point. Why did you bring in Saiyami Ayub? You bought in Ayub to be a dasher, to be adventurous, to go and hit runs, to go and make fast runs and do it. They felt, think of Ayub as a little bit of our trying Yashasvi Jaiswal. You know, somebody there who gives you an injection up front, takes risks, bats at a 180 instead of a 150, 140. Now, these are not the surfaces that you need that on. These kind of surfaces, if the last pitch is anything to go by, maybe Dallas is a different surface. But in this tournament, you're not going to see too many 220, 230 scores. 170, 180 will win you most games. And under those circumstances, I feel Babar Azam and Rizwan are the best batters for them.
Absolutely.
Because the strike rate that they bat at 130, 140 is good enough for them. And I think they will give you a certain amount of consistency up front. You don't need that strike rate in these conditions. That's my thought, at least.
You know, DK, exactly what Joyda is saying. This is something that India has adapted as well. We're seeing Rohit and Virat do it. So do you think this is going to be the model this World Cup?
You know, this is the beauty and greatness of Joyda. I feel he might not have played the sport professionally, but he picks up on the nuances of the game. And he's absolutely right, according to me, that this is a pretty old school tournament. It's back in time. It's no more the 220s, 240s that we are so spoiled looking at IPL on. It's gone back to that 160 to 180. It's a bit of an arm wrestle. Who wins which moment? You can start a little easy. In the first 10 balls, if you're 6 or 7 runs, it's okay. You can always make it up later. In fact, teams will encourage a batter to bat through the innings. The role of the anchor will come back. So we've gone back a little bit in time, like how Cuba is today. So the point here is they have done the right thing. They're making sure that they're backing their old horses, understandably so. And in trying to do that, they still is a certain intent that you need to bat with. They shouldn't go so much on the back foot that they're literally not applying pressure on the bowlers. And it's a fine line how you do that. And the greatness of Babar Azam and Mohammad Rizwan needs to make sure that they're always treading on that slightly positive line without taking undue risk. But make sure that one of the batters bat at least till 12 to 14 so that the others around them, because they've picked some dashers around them, Usman Khan, Azam Khan, Iftikhar Ahmed, these are all good players. For them to come through well, these guys, one of these two have to bat along.
Well, I know that I'm going to be on the back foot right now because it's time now to answer Mr. Joy Bhattacharya's question. So I'm always on the back foot when this happens. All yours, Joyda.
Okay. Famous, we all know Bob Woolmer, Pakistan coach, unfortunate, but before that, England player, Pakistan coach, born in South Africa. He is the only person to be physically present during two very famous days in cricket, which are connected, obviously. So both those days are connected. He is the only person to have been present on both days. Which two? And the only hint I can give is today is the 6th of June.
Okay. This is DK. I think any clue at all, you don't bother with this at all anymore.
No, DK gets a lot of them. DK gets a lot of them like
yesterday's easy one, he said he had no clue. Yesterday's is quite an easy one.
No. Actually, yes, it was an easy one. I was completely blindsided. I just realized it's better to play bouncers in real life and take on Joyda's bouncers. It's a touch too hard for me.
All right, but is it easier to do the prediction game then? I think you said that it was 160, 180 is what you said. So where are you going to go with the first inning?
I mean, I think you're blowing your trumpet here. I know you're on a high right now, but it's just been one game. We'll get you. Sammy Joyda? Make sure you get it.
Absolutely.
I'm not.
And now you can sit next to each other.
I was just lucky. I was just lucky, that's all.
Okay.
No, she's playing that card. Don't believe her. That she has. You should see the memes that come through.
She's ruthless. She's a stone cold killer. I'm telling you that. I'm 0.00 right now. Yeah.
No, I need to. One win I can't be celebrating, guys. I have to.
Okay.
Saw the IPL. Let DK. DK, you're far away, so you go first.
200. I'm scared it's Pakistan. 191.
But now you can sit on each other's
We
laps.
can sit on each other's lap now. Yeah.
189.
191, 189. I will go with 204.
Okay.
All right, we'll see what's going to happen because, we've got the experience coming into open for Pakistan. So hopefully it goes to 204. We'll find out, but we'll be giving you all the updates at the 10 hour point at the Cricbuzz com box. So we will see you all there very soon.